G'day legends, it's Mark here from North Oz, and in today's video we're going to be changing the wheel and tyre setup on my 79 series Landcruiser. This has been a heavily requested video for the last year and a half that I've owned this vehicle for. So I've been looking forward to this day for a very long time, and I can't wait to show you what wheel and tyre setup that I've gone for, and I still don't really know how it's going to look on the vehicle, and I'll share with you guys the reasoning why I chose the wheel and tyre specs that I ended up going with for this vehicle. So let's get stuck into it. We're on our way now to go and pick up the wheels and tires. It's going to be a good one. Let's get stuck into it. So a few hours have passed since I went in to Bob J and I ended up doing a whole pile of different things. I ended up going in, getting the wheels and tires on. Ended up having to pick up the old wheels and tires in my dad's van. So, and I actually went to TJM as well, picked up some flares. So we'll be talking about that as well in a little bit. And I've also switched cameras as well. So if you notice, if you're a long time viewer and you notice something a little bit different, maybe it's a wider angle or something, I'm giving it a go using my new camera. This is my old one, so we'll see how this new camera goes. Let me know how you guys like it, if you think it's an improvement or not. I'm still trying to figure it out a little bit, so I want to try and play around with it now before I go on my big trip so I can figure out what works and what doesn't. So I'm looking at my Landcruiser now with the new wheels and tires on it. So I think it's time to do the big reveal, and then we'll talk about what is okay with it, what I like about it, and also some of the major glaring issues with it. So let me show you around it now. All right, so before we talk about all of the dimensions and we'll get all the tires and that out, we'll do a little bit of a walk around of the Landcruiser. And here you can see this is a massive difference and pretty much goes against everything I've been saying so far of trying to keep the narrow wheel track. I am definitely a big fan of a narrow wheel track, but this is yeah, a pretty beefy setup, and it's definitely as wide as I would like to go, that's for sure. But yeah, there it is. Take it all in, folks. Let's do a little bit of a walk around and I'll kind of show you how it looks from all angles. So we'll start at the front, and as you can see, I'm sure you spotted it pretty early, is that there is quite a bit of poke there, but I do have a solution for that, and I'll kind of tell you my failed solution as well. But yeah, this is what the front looks like. The back does hit a little bit, but I think it really only hits down here on the plastic part of the mudguard, because it does kind of warp out a little bit down there. So I think that's really the only place it's hitting. And then on the front here, you can see as well that it has been hitting just that corner. So what I'm going to do is probably just take an angle grinder and just grind it from this kind of natural line here and just bring it down a little bit towards the front, and that will fix that problem, but not a major issue, and will only take me maybe 5 or 10 minutes to make it look good. But yeah, that's the front. And yeah, like I said, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. More so like the rear, I was a little bit worried that it still would be quite sunken in the rear, but because the whole purpose kind of doing this was to try to get the track a little bit further wider, because I was noticing a lot of rocking on the corners and when I was doing some of the tougher tracks. So I really do like having, even though I've really only just done roundabouts at this point, this wider track has definitely made it a lot more stable. But that's how it looks from the back. And also you can kind of see the front there too. Well, the new camera lens is looking pretty good too. You can kind of get a little bit more in. And unfortunately at this point, the rear tire does not fit on. So I still got the old one on there. And you can see that's the old 225/95, the cheese cutters, but I still highly rate them to put on your cars. And this is just one of the setups I'm going to be running. So I do have plans for another setup. And yeah, that's kind of how it looks from the other side here. And that to me is looking pretty nice. And it definitely balances out a little bit. It does look like that it's sitting a bit lower in the back, but this driveway is on an angle. So when it sits level, it actually levels out pretty nicely. So yeah, I think it was just my eyes kind of playing tricks on me to have to get a kind of lift the rear. But I might leave it for now, just see how it goes on this big trip I have coming up. If I feel like I have to get rid of it, I will, and I'll chuck a bit of a lift in the back with a constant leaf. But yeah, so that's what it looks like with the new setup on there. And yeah, so I'm going to get the old tires and also one of the new wheels and tires out of my dad's van, and then we'll have a little chat about specs while we are doing that, so I can kind of do two things at once, because I've got a lot of things to talk about today, including the flares, and yeah, we've got a lot of things going on here, as you can see. Yeah, it's going to get messy in here before my trip, so yeah, there's a lot going on. But yeah, let's have a little bit of a chat while I'm unloading some of those tires, and yeah, we'll get into why I chose the wheel specs, what are they, and maybe some things to keep an eye on if you want to do this yourself. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the reasoning why I got why did I upgrade? Why did I upgrade from the old cheese cutters, which I've got here ready to unload? Why did I upgrade from these? And you know, I use the word upgrade pretty, you know, with a bit of flexibility, because I wouldn't actually say that this is an upgrade. I'd just say it's kind of like, it's a different setup for a different purpose. So, you know, I'm more interested at this point looking at trying to create a little bit more of, I guess, a little bit more wheel tread, just because the places I'm going has got a lot of loose surfaces. If I was just doing what I do now, then I would 100% just keep these skinny wheels, because they're really good for fuel economy. They are light. As you can see, I can lift that with one hand. They are really, like I said, good fuel economy. They can be aired down quite nicely. You can see there that the profile of the tire, it's got decent amount of it's got a decent amount of profile on there. So that's something that's really good. These stock tires as well, these Bridgestones, are fantastic. I definitely recommend making sure with these that if you do get them, you can upgrade to, I think they're called the 297s, but in the light truck, sorry, 697s, and they do have, the ends don't have this little bridge between the blocks, and I'd recommend getting that because it does make it a lot better. I got those on my FJ, which I recently sold, in case anyone's wondering, and I recently got a set of Bridgestones, but they're a little bit different. The jewelers that I got on there were, they actually, yeah, like I said, had no real little block, little bridge that kind of, yeah, went between the two blocks. But on my new tires, which I'll bring one out and show you in a second, on my new tires, they don't have that. So it means that the water, amongst other things like sand and whatnot, can actually drain easily out of it. So when you're looking for a tire, don't just look at, you know, what they're good for. Actually have a look and see what the tread looks like. That's probably like a huge tip that I can give you guys if you are upgrading your wheel and tire specs. We're just doing a little bit of a chat while we're doing this, but I hope you guys don't mind. But yeah, I mean, and like these wheels and tires, even the stock ones, they do have a bit of weight to them. Like, not gonna lie, they are a little bit heavy, but I'll be able to compare them in a second, and you'll probably be able to tell by the way I lift them. So I can kind of lift that up and out pretty easily with one hand. So we'll see how heavy the new tire is when I get that off, when I get that out of the van. So a little bit about these tires is that they are, like I said, those are a 225 95. The ones I've got, the new ones, are a 285 75, still on a 16-inch rim, which is important because I wanted to make sure that I still have a decent amount of profile, which gives me, when I air down, gives me a lot more tire. So this is actually going to give me, with the extra profile, or very similar profile, which we'll match it up to in a second, do a side-by-side, it actually gives me even more footprint than what I had before. So not only do I get the benefit of a wider tire, but I also still have a huge amount of profile on the side, which is actually a really, really good thing. So let's see how I struggle with getting this tire out, because it's all the way in the back here. And you will see that, you know, it's probably, I would say, an extra 5 kilos or so. But it is also a new tire, so it's got a little bit more rubber on it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so probably an extra 5 or 6 kilos at least, but it is also a wider rim. So we'll talk about the specs now that I can actually focus. Okay, so these are the 2 tires in question. So this is the original setup. Now, this is all off the top of my head. This is a 16x7 with a +20 offset. So the workmates come with this style wheel, which is a lot thinner, and in the front, it like almost barely stays in when we're talking about the the alignment and how it fits within the guard. So in pretty close, cutting it pretty close in the front, but in the back, it's really noticeable at how far inside of the wheel track that these sit. And it's a bit of a problem because mostly for me with the canopy and the tray is it makes the, with just a tray on it, it'll be fine, but because I got the canopy and the tray and it is quite wide and a lot of my load is set out on both sides of the canopy, it makes it very rolly in the corners. So this actually does fix it. We're so far from my testing, just going around roundabouts and stuff like that. The trade-off for that is obviously, some people say a little bit more driveline wear, and some people say that there's a little bit, obviously things that can go wrong, there can be more potential issues. There are also a lot of people that say that it's negligible. So, obviously we're running a wider tire, we're running a slightly higher profile. From my measurements, and I haven't actually measured these, but from my measurements, these actually do sit a little bit higher. Didn't think it would actually be this much though. So from my calculations, I thought it was only going to be about 10 mil, but this is significantly more. So if I bring these two together, let me move this around. This is an absolute decent sized tire. So let me bring that around so you guys can see that. But yeah, so these factory wheels here, if they were like a slightly lower offset, and especially if they were a lower offset in the back, that would make life a lot easier. But anyway, just how it is, isn't it? So that's kind of a good visual representation of how much wider this is. And I actually need to try to get used to having a different camera here, guys. So apologies for if I'm not in frame here, but you can kind of see here that we've got this one here on the right. This is the factory one. Obviously, it is significantly thinner, but probably the main thing as well is that we do have a little bit of extra height in these wheels. So most of that is actually from, and yeah, it is probably about 15 mil now, but most of that is probably because these tires here have been worn down. So the factory Landcruiser ones have been worn down over time. So these lugs are fresh. Obviously, they're going to be maxing out their height. So yeah, so the difference actually really is only probably about 15 mil. I might go and get my tape measure and measure that now while we're here. But the other thing is to know is that how stable that these ones are here. And then these skinny ones, they're not stable at all. You can tell that they just want to fall over the second you let go of them. And that kind of is represented a lot in the way that they drive. So there's, the tread contact in the middle is significantly higher than the sides. Whereas if you have a look at the ones on the right, again, a little bit harder to move, you can tell, hopefully you can tell anyway, it is a lot flatter. Whereas this one here has a curve from left to right and right to left. So the contact patch is going to be wider, even if you got the same kind of style tire. But yeah, the contact patch is going to be a lot wider. And then when you go to, air them down as well, there's going to be a difference there too. So from this perspective as well, if you're interested in getting the set of tires that I have here, you can kind of see as well as that where the rim sits is kind of about the same. Same sort of similar height. So it means that I've got a similar profile in the tire, just I've got a wider tire, which is kind of what I was going for. So yeah, so those tires can pretty much stay exactly where they are, but these skinnier wheels, they just want to fall over. And stability is one of those things where, it's a bit of a, it's all well and good to look at these numbers in, you know, on paper, but how these things actually work in the real world is going to be another thing. And I very well may get to the point where, you know, I actually don't like using those new wheels that I've got, and that's fine too. Like, it's all about testing out and seeing what works for me. And you can only read the forums and watch the videos so much before you kind of have to just make up your own mind a little bit about what works for you and what doesn't. So this is me just going out there, spending my own money on this setup and just seeing if it works and if it doesn't. Is it the best idea to do it a week before a big trip? Well, yes or no. Yeah, or yes and no. So yes, from the perspective that you'll figure out pretty quickly what works for you and what doesn't. So at the end of the trip, I'm sure I'll either keep them or I'll get rid of them. It's going to be pretty easy to make that decision after spending that much time in the car over a month. But the other side of that is that, you know, I'll very quickly, because I've got this, you know, 10 or 11,000 Ks on these tires here, I'll very quickly be able to figure out if I like them or not, and be able to test them in a range of different scenarios. You know, obviously a lot of highway driving to get to down south, and then, you know, doing a lot of beach driving, which is one of the things I'll be doing a lot of, and then obviously some high country work as well, which don't really know what that's going to look like, and depends what tracks we do, but it is going to be a lot of loose stuff from what I can tell. But yeah, I mean, so talking about the wheel specs, and I will make chapters for all this down below. I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning, but the wheel specs. So top of my head, the old wheel specs for the Workmate are 225 95 16s. So pretty thin, high profile, and that's with a +20 offset. So the new ones that I got are a 16x8. So I didn't go the 9s. 16x8, and I'll explain that in a second. So 16x8 with a -25 offset. That's kind of like the boring sort of spec stuff. But I can tell you right now that this 285, 75, 16, it doesn't fit on a Workmate. I'm gonna tell you that right now. From the research I did, it said you're all good to go. Do it. This is an all-terrain, so this is not a, and this is I went with Yokohama Geolander AT4s, so I've never used this tire before. It's the only one that was in stock in this size. They actually ended up having 5, which was great, but I was only expecting 4. So this is why I went with it, is because it was the only one available, which is kind of good because it kind of gets me out of my comfort zone, because I've been using Bridgestone for a while. You know, I've really only used Bridgestone and Dunlop, which are just OEM tires, but it's good to try to see what else works out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how these go. They are a pretty conservative tire. I believe they're only a 2-ply, so not as heavy duty as the as ones I've had in the past, which have been 3-ply. The lugs on them are quite sharp. I've got cuts all up and down my arms from them, from lifting them in and out of the car, which I'm sure that there's probably a better way of doing that. But yeah, so they are still a pretty rugged tire. I feel like that they do save a little bit of weight though, because of their structure and because they are only a 2-ply. But yeah, now keeping things moving a little bit, but that's kind of like, honestly, this has taken up probably the last, on and off, the last 2 months of spare thinking, doing calculations, checking offsets and that sort of stuff. And the truth is I still got it wrong. It's just how it is. Like, you know, you talk to tire shops as well, and yeah, even though they have all the experience in the world, sometimes they still don't even know how it's going to look finally. Because if I went with a different tire, I went with a mud terrain, or I went with like a slide, I was actually going to go with a neg 12, and that might have kept it in a little bit more, but it still would have poked anyway. So if I went with the mud terrain, the clearance would be even worse again. So yeah, there's a little bit going on here when it comes to trying to get the right tire and wheel setup for your vehicles. So that was my first kind of problem that I solved, but I've also created another one in that it's now poking crazy from the front. So this was my solution, which I'm not happy with. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'll show you why in a second. Let's bring it over to the car, but I'm not really happy with these. These are a set of fiberglass, fenders, flares. Not really happy with them. They're scuffed all the way around as well. I know it's just supposed to be a gel coat and it's supposed to, you know, paint over, but these things are like in pretty rough condition, probably because they are supposed to be painted, like I said. I just don't see how it's possible to install these without drilling and drilling and drilling The only hardware that these came with that I can tell is this here, which is basically some edge trimming. So it's just going to give you a little bit of rubber that you stick on the inside of there. And it's come with about like 8 riv nuts. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see as well when this fits on the car. I can't see, and feel free to comment and tell me if I'm a bit delusional here, but I mean, I can't see how this actually fits on the fender and how you're supposed to actually bolt this in. So let me bring you around to the car. Maybe this is built for another car, I don't know, but I gave them all the specs and this is what I got. So yeah, $400 or $380, not really happy with this. You know, obviously fiberglass is going to cost you a little bit more, but I was hoping that everything would just bolt straight in. Let me show you what it looks like. At this point, I am going to get a refund on this, and I'm going to go with some sort of like just generic sort of rubber to go over it. That's going to be my solution. But let me take you guys over. I'm just trying to let this video roll today because, you know what? This is kind of how it works. You know, this is the real world of what I'm dealing with all the time. So this is the fender. As you can see, it's poking out a little bit here, and this is how it's supposed to sit. So for one, it doesn't actually sit like exactly in here, and I've actually scuffed up the paint quite a bit trying to get it to just sit. So I'm not going to do that too much more, but for one, you can kind of see it's not really doing a great job of trying to sit in there, but I just don't see how it's even possible to get underneath there and bolt that to it. So like, even if you go all the way up close, that's going to be like, that's going to be being bolted right into the metal here. It's not even going to be using the factory bolting location. So I might even get you guys up a little bit closer to see if you can see that. So just in case you are looking at a product like this, I don't even know if you guys will be able to see this or not. But yeah, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. But yeah, I just don't see how this product is going to work. So yeah, I mean, I know you have to take the mud flap off, I realize that, but that's how much you have to work with. You know, it's not enough. It only just covers this metal part here and sits on the inside of that metal part. I would much rather, I was thinking that the way it would work, let's see if I can give you guys a zoom in here, is I was thinking that that part there would be a lot, is that right? Yeah, thinking that part there would come out to about here so that it could actually bolt into the factory location. As you can see, there's bolts that go all the way around here. So I was thinking that it would use those, but it didn't. And you know, that's probably you know, a little bit of my fault, to be quite honest, because I did just give them a call and I rushed through the whole thing. But just lets you guys know that, you know, things don't always work out how you want them to, and that is okay as well, because there's always a fix for something. It's just about trying to find the right fix. So if you guys are doing what I'm doing with this setup, you're now going to join me in the next phase of this. And it's all happening in this video because it's getting too close to my leaving date where I just got to start getting stuff done. So I'm going to cut the front in this video. Sorry for being out of frame there again, but I'm going to cut the front. I'm going to see how that goes. I'm sure that'll be fine. That'll be one problem solved. I'm going to, that bull bar section that I showed you. I'm also going to have a look for a flare, just something just like a basic sort of rubber one will be fine. Let's do that. I think that'll be good enough, at least for now. And I'm also going to try and get the spare tire to fit, because it is that extra, you know, whatever it is, 15 mil or something. Unfortunately, it's just too big to fit between my 2 jerry can holders. So either way, we are fixing that today. So let's get stuck into it. I'm going to bring the Landcruiser in, and let's start chopping and let's start cutting and drilling, and we'll see where we end up with. As you can see, I'm sweating like crazy. Temperature is something like 40, real feel of 40 degrees, 40 plus degrees. So yeah, so I apologize if I'm rambling on a little bit, but this is all just me thinking out loud a little bit too. So, all right, I'm gonna bring the car in. Let's get chopping, drilling. Let's see what we can do to make these wheels fit just a little bit better on my Landcruiser. So after a lot of cutting, it was actually quite a surprising, I guess, amount of cutting I had to do here. So I ended up cutting a decent amount off, mostly just trying to angle the bottom, I guess, in towards the front of the car, just because where it made contact was just on the inside of the lip of the bull bar. It wasn't actually like the flat part. So I did level that off a little bit. I'll see how it goes on during the week, just to see before I leave. I'll hit a couple of bumps pretty hard at some different angles and see if I can get it to rub again. I'm not really concerned about it rubbing on the back. I think the only place it's rubbed is the front. So if I hear it rubbing at all during the week, I'll get the angle grinder out again and I'll chop some more off. Made a bit of a mess of the other side, but it actually clears better. So I may end up having to do the same thing on this side. So if I have to, I can take that, because it's actually quite an easy line to follow on these genuine Toyota bars. So I could probably cut straight across that line and you probably wouldn't even notice it. There'd just be a lot of cutting, that's all. But yeah, overall pretty happy with that. I was showing Dad as well, just a little bit to see. I just got him to have a look when I was going through the motions, and he reckons it looks pretty good. So we'll have a look at that during the week, and yeah, hopefully that's all good. Now it's time to move on to trying to get that spare to fit on the back. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, now I have not actually seen what the tolerances are here on this, but man, I don't know, like I don't think that the gap will be that bad. I think that we've got enough room here. So what's that? We've got like 20 mil there, and we've got like another 20 mil on that side. There's no way that those new tires are 40 mil bigger than that. No chance. So that's what the tire shop reckons anyway. So that it won't fit. So I'm going to take off this tire and I'm going to chuck on the new one, and we'll see how close it is. Worst case scenario is take some air out of it and we should be all good. So let's give that a go. Very dubious of is whether or not the wheels actually fit on the thread that we have here on this like wheel carrier. So I may have to get another one of those, but I'm hoping I don't have to, because that's going to be a massive pain. But yeah, anyway, we'll see how this goes, but maybe that's what they meant by it won't fit. But we'll have a look, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know that, huh?
Okay, go. Keep going.
It's spinning.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Much easier. That side, like, no, so wasn't I doing that right though? If I'm going that way.
Yeah, you can turn it around.
You're gonna go that way.
Yeah, you just shift over
Okay.
that way. Because that side doesn't move, you see.
Okay, that side does.
And that could strip them out. Yeah.
Okay. So the guys at the tire shop reckon that that spare tire won't fit on here. But
it's wider.
yeah, but not by that much.
Oh, I reckon it could be right.
That's anyway. Hey, they could be right. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You got it?
Yeah, I'll get it.
No, you just together. Grab one side.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Well,
Look at that. It marked the thing with.
Wow.
We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I do have to adjust that. So when we put it on.
I'll tell you what. We put it on here first. Just
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Rest it there, and then I
up.
can move it. Yeah.
All right, ready?
All right. 3, 2, 1. See,
It fits.
It fits easy. Let's pretend like we just finished doing it up. Yes. Oh, yes, we just finished doing it up. And ta-da! Done. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we just finished tightening it all up. Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, all done.
Yeah, they're spanning the wrong way.
there we go. Yeah, that way. Yeah,
Yeah,
there we go. Done. Oh, look at that. Amazing. It actually does look really good. So it's still got, like I said, it's still got like 10 mil inside.
Heaps of room.
And it fit perfectly fine on there
Heaps
too.
of room.
So I'm not quite sure what those guys are talking about.
They don't know what they're talking about, mate.
Oh well, we do, turns out.
Yeah.
Thanks for your help, mate. Appreciate it.
That's all right. It worked out.
Cool. Yeah, looks good.
Yokohama should be on the top.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no.
Not necessarily. No, it looks good.
It's kind of symmetrical like that.
Yeah,
though.
it does. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. Now you got me thinking. All right, I'm back to the old camera because the new one has been doing a lot of work, and I get about the same sort of battery life out of it as my Sony. So for those of you that want to see what it looks like, that's what you guys look like to me, kind of when I'm filming. That's what I'm looking at. So yeah, as Dad and I were saying, not quite too sure what was happening with the tire shop when they said that this wouldn't fit. Was it that I had a couple of nuts on there and it was a little bit difficult for them to get at? I'm not too sure. I mean, like that fit, it fit that way, which is what I was thinking. Maybe that's maybe how they thought it wouldn't fit, but it also fit that way with heaps of room too. Like, look at the room. Like, there's another 15 mil there. Anyway, not quite sure what that was all about, but anyway, here's what it is. And yeah, and then I also did the front bull bar, so I cut that. I didn't have too many issues with that at all. I kind of messed up the passenger side a little bit as I was trying to cut into the bull bar. It kind of like went past the point of where I made my first cut, so I had to chop even more out of that. But you know, it is what it is. You're not really going to notice it unless you go to both sides and compare them. The passenger side was definitely the better side, or whichever side it was. So yeah, one side turned out better than the other, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how it all turned out. I think that the tire on the back there looks really mean, fills out a lot more of the space too. Probably wouldn't want to go too much of a bigger tire on the back of my canopy. But yeah, overall, really happy with how it's looking. You can see that front poke there. Unfortunately, in today's video, I won't get around to resolving the front. I've just got too much to do to be able to get ready to go on my trip. So I'm jumping between touring setup stuff to some install stuff, and I don't want to miss it either, but I will definitely show you what I end up doing for that front poke. So don't stress. And all the stuff that I've been putting on the car, I haven't really been filming. When I do my trip, I will 100% be showing you guys what it is that I have put on the car, just kind of as I'm going and as I'm doing the trip. My plan for the trip is to try to release a video, or at least make a video every kind of 3 days I'm on the road. So kind of going into, going down to Fraser Island, the trip there, then Fraser Island itself, and then going and doing some stuff between Brisbane and Sydney, and then doing some high country stuff, and then working my way back, and then doing some different islands and stuff along the way around Brisbane. So that's kind of my plan. It's my rough plan for you guys. But yeah, if you guys want to meet up along the way, let me know. I'll put some stuff up on my Instagram if you guys want to follow along. If you guys want to catch up, we can, 100%. I'm always open to it, and I've caught up with a couple of subscribers so far. You guys are always really down-to-earth people, just like me. So I feel like that you guys think it's very similar to me is what I meant to say. So so it would be great to meet you guys along the way, and we can maybe do some camping and stuff, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm so tired, but I can't really think too much more. I'm pretty dehydrated, but yeah, that's pretty much the build so far. If you haven't seen much of what else I've done on here, go ahead and check it out. But from my very limited testing so far, it doesn't look like anything's rubbing. Got the spare tire on there. I just need to try to fix that that front poke, but I'm sure it's something that I can tackle. I'm thinking of just getting like a generic sort of a mud guard thing, flare thing from like Repco or something. But yeah, I'll have a look at that and we'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, guys, between now and pretty much the next video that I release, I'm going to probably be on the road. So as I'm releasing this, I'm probably on the road already. So pretty exciting stuff. So I'll share with you guys my trip, also share with you some of the different things I've been buying. I've been buying heaps of different products, just trying to test out different things. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you guys. So make sure you have subscribe, follow along, like the video. That always helps me out. But yeah, today was a little bit testing. It's definitely been a culmination of probably like I said, like 7 or 8 weeks of calculating and stuff. I feel like I got it pretty spot on. But I feel like I kind of missed the mark a little bit on the front, but the rear has turned out really good because I was really mostly just measuring for the rear. So maybe I should have looked at the front as well. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. If there's anything I missed, like I said, put them down in the comment section. And yeah, and I'll catch you guys very shortly in the next video. Take care.